Hello everyone, welcome to Mom Time with Chico. Today's recipe is pound cake or Italian pound cake. As its name suggests, it is traditionally made with a pound of each of butter, flour, sugar and eggs. You can serve it on its own or with whipped cream and fruits. The ratio of the ingredients results in a dense and rich cake. Usually, pound cakes don't have leavening agents like baking powder or baking soda. However, I will be using this here since I have tried a lot and the baking soda helps a lot of fluffy and soft cake. That's the outcome. We're using the fresh yogurt. This is a Greek yogurt and you can substitute with curd if you want. And maybe if you can take any other, it's just the curd I have it right now. Then you need to have vanilla essence. Here I'll be using Flying Bird vanilla essence. You can take any one from the store available near you. The next one is a baking powder. I'm using Wakefield baking powder. We will use it with the dry ingredients, and we have powdered sugar and some flour or Maida. Then we need 3 room temperature eggs, regular eggs. And we'll need to use at least 3 to 4 to make it more softer and fluffy, and also a baking tray lined with some baking paper. And you can use the tray as available, but I'm using a rectangular one. And then we will require this is a measuring cup. There is no measuring cup. We are using 2 yogurt, so you can take one size. One is 85 grams, so around 170 grams in total of yogurt, and everything will be in measurement with the same cups, that is equivalent to 170 grams. Then we need a sifter. I bought this from IKEA, but you can use any sifter that you have at home. This is little handy. I will be using this here for our recipe. And we will require a whisker and a spatula. Whisker keeps it more fluffy and airy. And then we have baking paper. I have this one available, Eco Bake, and some tissue roll to keep our station clean. Now let's move on to making this lovely and delicious cake. First we'll pour in our yogurt. You can use flavored yogurt like a vanilla yogurt. It's in the recipe. I have Greek yogurt available with me, and this was available online, so I'm using this. This is 1 cup. Let's empty this cup into the bowl. And yogurt is preferable to curd. If you are going to use curd, maybe you can mix it with a bit of water to make it little soft. See, the texture is different of yogurt compared to curd, and the recipe calls for yogurt, and that is the reason I am using this. I have tried with curd. With curd it gets a little bit thicker, but if you don't have it at home, even curd will do the magic. I will tell you some tricks and tips while we do this recipe. Now while we are emptying, and as I mentioned, you can also use flavor like a banana or vanilla flavor depending on your preference. This is a plain Greek yogurt. It's not flavored at all. I'll be doing the same thing with the next cup. We have to empty 2 cups in for equivalent of 170 grams of yogurt. So make sure that all your ingredients should be minimal of 170. The ratio for sugar is the same as your yogurt. However, the flour or Maida will be a little more, at least 2 times. 2:1 ratio, so 2 times of flour to 1 of yogurt. So I'm adding here a little bit of butter, room temperature butter. I'm using here Amul. I have it at home, and you can use any butter, even margarine will do it. And this is the measuring cup now for my further ingredients in this recipe. It's 1 cup, so I will remember that I use 2 cups, and the measurements will be equivalent to 2 cups. Now we'll take in some oil. I'm using a regular cooking oil. You can use any kind of oil available at your home. Or if you want to substitute with butter only, maybe you can melt it equivalent to 2 cups of this, or maybe 1.5 cup of butter or 1.5 cup of oil, because we want to put in some butter. I'm using oil here. It's a regular cooking oil that I had it in my house available at this point. And I'm pouring it in. The oil in here is one of the key ingredients. It gives a very soft texture. I have tried it with butter and with oil both. So when I'm mixing both, it gives a more richer texture and more softness and fluffiness to this cake. Now let's add it in. It will look a little oily on top because of the density it is floating on top, but no, don't worry, everything will be fine when we come to this remaining ingredients. Now we pour in some vanilla essence, and then we move on to sugar. This is powdered sugar, regular white sugar I have used. You can use icing sugar if you wish to. I'm using here powdered regular sugar. And now we need 170 grams, so I'm going to use 2 cups of powdered sugar. And I'm putting into the sifter so that if there are any granules, it will sift off and only give us a refined flour into this batter. Now I poured in 2. Now let's add the remaining dry ingredients. Hope you can see this clearly. Now we'll add in the flour, all-purpose flour or Maida. The same cup, yes. Now we pour in some flour. We need to measure 4 cups of this. And it's all about the texture. Keep adding it 1 part at a time into this liquid batter to see if it is almost reaching how do you say, idli dosa batter consistency. Then it should be fine. A little like a dosa batter, not like a idli batter, is still thicker. Just to give you a comparison of how much liquidy it should be, not too liquidy and not too thick. Now let's sift this in. You can add it in patches. I've added in half and half for a quicker sifting process. So almost 3.5-4 cups of Maida or all-purpose flour and 2 cups of powdered sugar. We'll sift it in and see. Why do we sift it? Because we have some granules of sugar into this sifting process and we remove them out. Now we scoop in the remaining dry ingredients. We made this half, so we're putting them in and sifting the remaining. Nice, the granules removed. Now we'll set this aside. Let's mix these ingredients together very gently. It's better to use a larger bowl so that you don't make a mess of your station, the cooking station. And slowly mix everything together so that there are no lumps. Very gently keep mixing them to incorporate everything. Now there's one ingredient that I forgot. I should have put it with the liquid, but anyways, I will show you now. We can do it over this dry ingredient. We have added 3 eggs. Do not worry, they're all going to blend and they're all going to bake together. let's mix them gently. It will look a bit messy, but just see, once we have mixed it in with the whisker, it's as good to go. Now we whisk it in, and it's perfect. Can you see this texture? Yes, it's flowy consistency, almost like a besan or like an idli dosa batter. Now we've thoroughly mixed it in. Everything is there. Whatever we had to put in, the eggs, the yogurt. Now there is, at this point you could add lemon zest. I am not using lemon zest here in my recipe because in India we have lime. It may tend to give you a little bitter taste, and here I'm adding baking powder, 3 teaspoons, and sifting it in. So lemon zest is in the recipe for Italian pound cake. I have skipped this in this recipe, but if you would like to have a complete flavor and taste, you could use, but I've only used yogurt. It is part of the main ingredient for the recipe. Some recipes do use sour cream. If you have one available, please go ahead and do that, so it will also give a very good taste to your Italian pound cake. Now we've whisked it in, we're ready, and we'll have kept our baking tray ready, and let's start plating them. Now for our baking tray, we've already lined in. Now we have to line it with some butter or oil, so that when you're taking out your cake, it comes out very smoothly. There are brushes available usually, but you can just maybe use your hand or spoon, anything that you use the surface to spread the oil evenly. And there's one trick: this paper might fall off, so use a little bit of your batter on the behind of paper and stick it to the tray. This helps the tray and the baking paper to stick to each other and avoid paper falling off when you're trying to pour in your batter. It gets a bit messy. Now your paper is standing straight, and you just pour in the batter into the tray. And before doing this, maybe around half an hour before, you can make your oven or your grill ready. At least preheat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or almost 200 degrees Celsius, so that your oven or your microwave is ready and hot to keep this batter and the cake ready. It's good to preheat your oven. It evenly cooks your cake. I have already set my oven for 200 degrees Celsius. It's a Celsius here that I have, and you also going to use and up a top and bottom, so you can adjust your 200 depending, you know your oven very well. You adjust your Celsius and Fahrenheit accordingly, and then the settings, you put the function up and bottom grill both to cook evenly, and for around 40 to 50 minutes. Let's put this tray inside. I have some leftover. You can use 2 trays, or you can use the same tray twice. You will lose a lot of time. It's better to put 2 trays together, but here I'm going to, just for demonstration, I'm going to show you one tray right now. And you can fill it up to 3/4 of the tray or half of the tray, because it is going to leave in. Now we're almost done, and let's cook and check in between. Around 40 minutes are done and it has not stuck. The cake is perfectly cooked. Voila, we have our Italian pound cake. It looks so yummy. Let's try cutting this gorgeous cake now. Well, I wanted to show you how it looks and how my cake has come out. Yes, perfectly cooked, and we have a very fluffy cake. It's very moist. It is thick not very fluffy, and it's evenly cooked inside. The crust is brown, a nice golden brown. This is what we want. Now let's plate it. You can have it with fruit or a whipped cream. You can sprinkle some powdered sugar as you wish. You can have it with tea, chai, coffee, whatever you prefer to wish have. Hope you like this recipe and hope you try this and let me know how your cake came out to be. And if you would like to see any such recipes, please let me know. Do like and share, subscribe.